Hey guys, ECRG here, back with another episode. Today I've got another question from a listener who I think listens on the YouTube channel. But this is a very good question, and I wanted to bring it to you guys today. So this listener writes in, "Hello, my name is blank, and I am looking to enter into the clinical research industry. I have spent the past few days listening to your podcast, and I love the content you are putting out. A little backstory on myself. I have recently completed an MBA in healthcare management and am now looking for a job in healthcare. Coming out of undergrad, I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do, so I found a graduate assistant position and worked on another degree. Within the past month, I have become aware of the CRO industry in clinical research. I find it very interesting and believe I would like to find a career within the industry. Ideally, like everyone else, I would like to eventually work myself into a CRA role. However, I know I need to gain experience first. From listening to the podcast, I know you do resume reviews, and I would be interested in sending you my resume if you would be willing to help out. Yeah, so for this person, if you're listening, go ahead and send it to me, eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com. We can talk about some of the different packages and all the different things you can do with that. We've got a few different packages. So if you or anyone else is interested, email me eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com to get your resume reviewed. Right now, I'm trying to get my foot in the door with any position. I have mostly been looking at clinical research coordinator, or CRC, entry-level training CRA, and clinical trial coordinator positions, but have not had much luck. I enjoyed your interview with Eric, the assistant project manager. I think that would be a role I would excel at given my MBA, but I haven't been able to find any to apply for. Looking forward, I think a hiccup that I'm going to have is that I have very little clinical experience. Hopefully, I provided enough information to get the ball rolling and create a conversation to help find my avenue into clinical research. Any help you could provide would be much appreciated, and I look forward to hearing back from you." So thank you so much for this question. This is a very good question, as I know a lot of people are interested or are new to the channel and the podcast and are interested in getting their foot in the door in clinical research. And I think you brought up one thing that I haven't really talked about a lot, and is graduate degrees, how those help or hurt. So I think as an MBA, you're in a good position because it's not like a PhD or like an MD or like a dental degree where you're supposed to be making so much more money in that role, where it's going to be hard for you to find an entry-level role because they're not going to pay you equally or even near what you were making in that other field. So that's good that you went and got an MBA right after graduate school, that you have limited work experience, because they're not going to expect you to you're not going to be expected to get paid a whole bunch of money because you have an MBA. So that's good. Another thing you want to think about with this is, I guess, broadening your career, your clinical research options a little bit. It's good you're looking at study coordinator, and you didn't mention where you're based, but it's good you're looking at study coordinator. It's good you're looking at entry-level training CRA programs, which are pretty rare and very hard to get into, but definitely apply. And clinical trial coordinator, I think that's the same thing as study coordinator, but different companies call it different things. But I'm assuming that's the same thing if that's at the site level. Some other things you could look at are clinical trial assistant, which I've done a video on. If you need more information on that, just type in clinical trial assistant, ECRG, and the video should pop up. Project specialist and project coordinator, those are all the same positions, the same thing as the assistant project manager position, which Eric was in. Those are the great positions to get your foot in the door. Another one could be in-house CRA, good one on clinical. And then there are even more, actually. You could become an intern. That's a good option. You could become a contractor. A lot of times they will do contract clinical trial assistant positions, where they'll bring you in to contract for a few months, and then if you're good, they'll put you on full time. So those are good ways to get your foot in the door. And really with the MBA, this is a experience-driven industry, as I'm sure you've understood by now, because you said one of the things that you don't have is experience. but you do have the degrees. So one of the things that's interesting is degrees really don't mean much in this industry. It is all about experience. So really what you want to focus on is getting that experience any way you can. Get your foot in the door any way you can. So it may not be ideal. You may only be making $11 an hour like I was in my first position. But just know that you can move up fairly quickly after you get some experience under your belt. In a matter of a couple years, you'll be making a lot more than what you started at if you play your cards right. So that's just something to think about. Pretty much get experience as much as you possibly can to get your foot in the door is my recommendation for you, whether that's volunteering, whether that's interning, whether that's trying to be a patient recruiter, whether that's shadowing. Whatever you can do to get experience is only going to help you in your career and trying to get into clinical research. So, as far as being a CRA, your best route to get your foot in the door first is as a study coordinator or an in-house CRA, and those can go directly into being a CRA, both through training programs, of course, but those are positions that directly align to becoming a CRA. And I think as a strong foundation, study coordinator is probably the best. That gives you the best foundation to understand what being a clinical research associate is going to be and being on the clinical side. And then next, I would say, is probably an in-house CRA. But a lot of people that are interested in clinical research don't really know much about it. They don't really know what positions are out there. So you're going to learn more as you get your foot in the door, what positions are out there and what you like doing. And, a lot of people come in wanting to be a CRA, then they find out about project management. Or they come in wanting to be a project manager, they find out about data management. Or they find out they really like TMF. Whatever it is. Oh, also TMF specialist is another good entry-level role that they have out there. They typically, want some experience, but don't be afraid to apply for roles that ask for experience. You can apply for roles that ask for 1 to 2 years. They put that there, but they very often accept people without much experience. And, one of the things, since you don't have a long work history, it sounds like, what you're going to want to do is kind of translate the history that you do have or what's on your resume into applicable experience to clinical research. And that might be pretty tough. So I do recommend for someone in your position, the clinical research program, the resume review program. I would definitely recommend that for you. And for anyone else like you, if you're having a hard time getting your foot in the door and translating that experience that you have into applicable and pertinent clinical research experience, then you definitely want to partake in the clinical research resume review program that I've got going on. That's specifically who it's designed for, essentially. So I hope this was helpful. Keep applying, keep shooting. I've got tons of content on this, how to improve your resume, how to improve your strategy, how to get your foot in the door. So go back and look at those past episodes on the podcast and on YouTube, and there's plenty of content. Thank you so much for your question. Take care.